One thing I really appreciate about Illumix as a company when it comes to FNAF AR is how interactive they are with their fans on Instagram, on Twitter, sometimes YouTube. Illumix really cares, and you can tell. Today we're going to be making a video on FNAF AR, obviously. It's not a perfect game. There are some flaws, which I will be sure to make a separate video on when the time comes. But one thing Illumix definitely isn't doing wrong is the character roster. The character roster is really important. I can tell Illumix really cares about these characters in these games, and it shows through what characters they add. And which characters are going to make it in is top secret at Illumix. So with Shamrock Freddy on Thursday, we now have 14 characters in the game, 13 if you don't include Withered Bonnie, and just the plush shoot characters. With that being said, today we're going to be doing a list on the top 30 characters I want to see in FNAF AR. Now at first, 30 might seem like a lot, but if you remember, they do about 2 characters a month, so that's about 24 a year. So that means that not including events and stuff, they could do more. And I'm pretty sure by the end of this year, we could see at least maybe 30 characters in the game. These slots, as in the top 30, are characters I want to see from least to most, one being the character I want to see the most. So we're just going to stop rambling and jump right into number 30. Also, one super quick side note I want to make is due to current world events, I think you can put together what I'm talking about, I'm out of school for 3 weeks, which means I'm going to be doing daily videos. I have a video planned for tomorrow that I'm really excited for. I just wanted to let you all know, so like and subscribe if you want to see more content from me like this, and let's just jump right into number 30 right now. Kicking off the top 30, and unfortunately coming in last place, is Phantom Chica. Phantom Chica I feel like is the least interesting Phantom. That doesn't mean I don't want Phantoms in the game eventually, but I don't feel like she's that important. I know priorities are a thing, and the Phantoms are probably in the back of Illumix's mind right now. And I understand, the Phantoms are just reused models of the Withered and classic animatronics. I could see the Phantoms having a similar mechanic to Withered Bonnie, or just a new mechanic in general that I think would make them stand out from the rest of the character roster. So Phantom Chica comes in at number 30, let's move on to number 29. Coming in at number 29 is Yendo, and this one's kind of frustrating for me, because Yendo I feel like is one of the most unique characters in FNAF, and I think he'd work really cool in AR. He could have a very interesting voice. Unfortunately, the reason why he's solo on this list is 1, he's not canon, and 2, there are other characters that just need more representation and are more important than Yendo, unfortunately. If Yendo does get in, it won't be for a while. So Yendo comes in at number 29, let's move on to number 28. Coming in at number 28 is Dreadbear, specifically Dreadbear from Ultimate Custom Night. He was the only new character in that game if you don't count Dee Dee, which I honestly don't, because she was in FNAF World. Dreadbear I feel like was a very one-off character. He was only introduced in that game because many people were wanting to see Dreadbear at some point. I feel like they won't do Dreadbear. He's not this low on the list because I don't think that it's possible. I think that it's not likely because Dreadbear is, if you don't know, Golden Freddy's not in the game. And Dreadbear is basically pre-Golden Freddy, and Golden Freddy is intentionally not there. So I don't think Dreadbear has any chance on getting in, which is unfortunate because his voice lines were really interesting in UCN, and he could be a very, very interesting character if he was ever done. But I understand if they don't want to do him, which is why he's this low on this list. Let's move on to number 27. One thing I want to bring up really quick, I don't know if I brought it up in the prologue, but I'm not going to include Funtime Freddy, Lefty, and Plushtrap on this list because they've already been confirmed, so I just wanted to get that out of the way so no one's wondering. Coming at number 27 is Phantom Balloon Boy. He basically rides in the same boat as Phantom Chica, not that popular. I don't think many people are going to be too hurt if he's not in the game ever. But I do want to see him in, like always. Nothing really to say about this one, just it's a character that exists that I feel like I should put on this list, and that should be in the game eventually. Again, he could have a very interesting mechanic, and I don't know if any of the Phantoms would have voice lines, which is something I've been debating to bring up. But, yeah, Phantom Baby comes in at number 27. Let's move on to number 26. Coming in at number 26 is Phantom Mangle. Phantom Mangle is personally my favorite Phantom, so I don't know if I put it too much higher over the other Phantoms. But Phantom Mangle I feel like would be very interesting to see, because Mangle's already a very unique character in the game, and I feel like they could do something special with Phantom Mangle. Again, no, I'm not sure about voice lines. The Phantoms are kind of hard to put on this list, which is honestly why I just kind of put them at the sort of bottom area. I do feel like phantoms that are after this are more important and more likely, but Phantom Mangle still has to be on this list at some point. So Phantom Mangle comes in at number 26. Let's move on to number 25. Coming in at number 25 is another one of my personal favorites like Yendo, and kind of falls into the same boat, Endo 02. Endo 02 I feel like is more likely than Yendo just because Endo 02 is canon, and I do feel like he has more fans than Yendo. Yendo is not canon, Endo 02 is. That's really the only reason, honestly. And I think Endo 02 would be very cool in the game. I think he could have a complete new mechanic. I don't know what yet. I didn't really put a lot of thought into these. I'm mostly thinking about the characters themselves and not really how they would work in the game. But I do think Endo 02 would be a very interesting and obscure choice, and just something that FNAF AR really needs. Variety. So yeah, Endo 02 comes in at number 25. Let's move on to number 24. Coming in at number 24 is just another personal favorite like Endo 02 and Yendo, one that I would like to see in the game, Shadow Freddy. Shadow Freddy hasn't been in a game since FNAF 3, and he debuted in FNAF 2. I feel like he doesn't really get enough representation, and he often gets undercut by Shadow Bonnie, which was in UCN. And yeah, I feel like Shadow Freddy really needs another in-game canon appearance, because he hasn't really had one here lately. Even if he's literally the exact same as Shadow Bonnie, where he spawns instead of Shadow Bonnie when you collect Remnant, like you either get one of the two, I really feel like he needs to be in this game eventually in one way or another. So Shadow Freddy comes in at number 24. Let's move on to number 23. I don't remember if I mentioned this or not, but this list went through many rewrites. There was originally a top 20, then a top 10, and then now a top 30. And one of the most difficult people to place, like I've said already, is the Phantoms. The Phantoms were easily the most difficult people to place, and that's because I don't know which Phantoms should be higher than others. And this is probably the defining one of that, Phantom Foxy. Phantom Foxy was excluded from Ultimate Custom Night, but he was in VR. He was one of the few Phantoms that actually made it into VR. Puppet and Chica were cut for some reason. But Phantom Foxy, I feel like, is one of the more demanded Phantoms in the game, if that makes sense. I feel like he'd make the most sense along with the two Phantoms I haven't mentioned yet. So if those three made it in, I think I'd be pretty satisfied with the Phantom roster. But Phantom Foxy comes in at number 23. Let's move on to number 22. Coming in at 22 is Phantom Puppet. Jumping right off of Phantom Foxy's Phantom Puppet, another highly demanded Phantom in my opinion. He could have a very interesting mechanic when it comes to FNAF 3 where he was like in your face and stuff. I feel like that could be utilized in some way in this game, and a nice callback to that. He's one of the last Phantoms. I know these Phantoms are kind of hard to get through. They're kind of boring, but trust me, we're about to get into the actual good characters in a minute. But 22 comes Phantom Puppet just because, you know, of that cool mechanic that they can implement in some way, and I'm pretty sure they will if they do Phantom Puppet. So, 22 Phantom Puppet, let's move on to number 21. Coming in at number 21 is Lolbit. If FNAF VR didn't exist, I wouldn't be putting Lolbit on this list because before that it was just a head, but in FNAF VR, Lolbit finally got a body. Lolbit, I feel like, you know, it's on the list. I think it has a higher possibility of getting in than the Phantoms personally, but Lolbit is not very interesting, and I feel like it's not on Illumix's priority list. And if you wanted my opinion, I would get Phantoms before Lolbit, but I feel like Lolbit's a popular character, more popular than the Phantoms at least. But yeah, Lolbit just had to be on this list because I know some people would get angry if I didn't put it on here. So Lolbit comes in at number 21. Now let's finally get into the top 20. Coming at number 20 is the final Phantom, finally, Phantom Freddy. Phantom Freddy, I feel like, is the most plausible, obviously. He's the main Phantom, and the most recognizable one, and I'd say the fan favorite Phantom, maybe besides Puppet and Foxy. But Phantom Freddy, I feel like, has the most possibility of getting in. Phantom Freddy gets in, there's obviously probably going to be more than one Phantom, but if you could only choose one Phantom, I think they'd choose Phantom Freddy. So Phantom Freddy comes in at number 20. Let's move on to number 19. Coming in at number 19 is JJ, the other colored balloon boy from FNAF 2, the Easter egg one that was under the desk. If she wasn't in UCN, I wouldn't include her on this list. The only thing really holding her back from being higher is the lack of interest from the fan base. I don't think anyone's going to be losing their head over JJ being in the game. I don't imagine that many people having a desire to get JJ. Not like Balloon Boy. Balloon Boy I feel like is a lot more iconic and recognizable. But JJ's just not very interesting. The only reason why the Phantoms I feel like have a less possibility than JJ is just because JJ is at least, you know, a actual character. The Phantoms are just hallucinations, which you could make an interesting mechanic out of that, but we're just not going to get into that right now. Maybe I'll make a separate video about how the Phantoms could get in the future. But yeah, JJ number 19, let's move on to number 18. Coming in at number 18 is the lowest Withered animatronic, Withered Golden Freddy. I'm not putting him on here because he's a Withered animatronic, because the Withered animatronics I feel like are some of the most demanded animatronics. It's the same boat as Fredbear, where they didn't include Golden Freddy for obvious reasons, and including Withered Golden Freddy I feel like would just break the reason why they didn't include Golden Freddy. So I don't think the reason why he's on here is because of lack of interest, it's because of lore purposes. So Withered Golden Freddy comes out at 18, short and sweet. Let's move on to number 17. Coming in at number 17 is Jaco Bonnie, and I feel like they could do this similar to how they just did Shamrock Freddy, where they just take the same animation and model, change the colors up a little bit, and there you go. I think he would work very well for some sort of Halloween event, similar to two other characters that I'm going to bring up in a minute. So Jaco Bonnie I feel like would be pretty easy. I'm a big fan of the Jacos personally, and I would love to see them in this game. So Jaco Bonnie comes in at number 17, let's move on to number 16. Coming in at number 16 is Jaco Chica, and the only reason why Jaco Chica comes on higher than Jaco Bonnie is just simply because 1, she has a voice in UCN, and 2, because I feel like she's a lot more popular in the merch and just in general. I don't really know why this is the case, probably because of that pumpkin, but Jaco Chica I'd love to see in FNAF AR, along with Jaco Bonnie, and this other character that I'm going to bring up in number 15. So speaking of number 15, let's just go ahead and jump to that. Coming in at number 15 is Dreadbear. Dreadbear is a very interesting animatronic that I feel like hasn't really been fleshed out in the lore yet. He had my favorite game mode in FNAF VR. Curse of Dreadbear was easily the highlight in that game for me. I have so many good memories with Curse of Dreadbear, and it's one of the most unique turns FNAF has taken on an exclusively Halloween event, and I really enjoy that. I guess you could count the Halloween FNAF 4 DLC, but this was that on steroids. Dreadbear I feel like would work great along Jaco Bonnie and Jaco Chica for a Halloween event in FNAF AR, where by the time Halloween rolls around, I'm pretty sure the Nightmares will already be in the game, hopefully, and Jaco Bonnie and Jaco Chica can just be reskins of those, with Dreadbear being the main new animatronic. That would be my ideal Halloween event. I really hope that happens at some capacity, and I really want that to happen. Dreadbear could be very interesting if he gets a voice, which I don't know how it would sound, probably very deep, very intimidating, and it could have some lore reveals about his own game mode in FNAF AR. So Dreadbear comes in at number 15, let's move on to number 14. Coming in at number 14 is Funtime Foxy, the Funtime Foxy from Sister Location that I really want to see in the game very bad. Funtime Freddy's confirmed, Baby's in, Foxy and Ballora can't be that far behind. What I really want to see with Funtime Foxy is a new mechanic. Maybe they could implement Pirate's Cove somehow with Showtime. I don't really know how. Again, I didn't really think out these mechanics. I'm just thinking about characters themselves. I really want to hear his voice lines. I want to see if they get the original voice actor back. I don't remember his name, but I really want her to have a voice really, really bad. Maybe they could change it up a little bit, give him new voice lines, but I really want her to have a jump scare as well with the faceplates opening. I think that could be really cool. So Funtime Foxy comes in at number 14. Let's move on to number 13. Coming in at number 13 is Nightmare, the lowest ranking regular Nightmare animatronic that isn't a reskin. Well, I guess he is a reskin of Nightmare Fredbear, which is the main point why he's so low. I think he has the least likely chance of the main set of animatronics of getting in, just because he's a recolor of Fredbear, and I feel like Nightmare Fredbear is more iconic than Nightmare, and Nightmare is just too strange and doesn't really have a place in the lore right now. Maybe they could give him a purpose in this game, but I just don't think he's important enough to be on the initial roster, because we already have so many other Nightmare animatronics that need to be in first, and that are more important, and I feel like Nightmare's too obscure and too... Like, he's not a good obscure, he's a bad obscure. He's so obscure that people don't even know what he is or where he comes from or why he's here. He's just a character that exists. So he comes in at number 13. Let's move on to number 12. Coming in at number 12 is unfortunately the lowest ranking Withered animatronic that has a shot, Withered Freddy. Withered Freddy is my personal favorite Withered animatronic. I know that's kind of strange, but I think he's very, very intimidating, and I think he's very, very unique. Even though his model was reused again and again and again and again, I still really like Withered Freddy a lot. He was excluded from Ultimate Custom Night, and his last appearance was in FNAF World, which I feel like he really needs to get another appearance soon, and I think this is the perfect way to do it. He could have a very interesting voice, I think, similar to Freddy's, but more distorted and very, glitchy and stuff, and I feel like he could very well be one of the greatest characters in the game if Illumix plays their cards right. So, Withered Freddy comes in at number 12, one that I really want to personally see. So let's move on to number 11. Coming in at number 11 is Ballora. I think Ballora really needs to be in this game because she was actually the only main sister location animatronic of the main 5 that was excluded from sister location in FNAF VR. Ennard, Funtime Freddy, Funtime Foxy, and Baby were all in VR, but for some reason Ballora wasn't. Her last appearance was an Ultimate Custom Night, which I really hope if they do put her in AR, they get her voice actor back. I think they will, because she seems to have returned every time Scott asks her, which I really hope she does, and I really hope she's in AR. I'm like 95% confident that she will be in at some point. I'd say probably more towards the end of 2020, maybe around the fall, or maybe even November or December, but I do think she will get in, and I do think she will have new voice lines and new mechanics with her dancing, and I think it'll be really, really cool. So Ballora comes in at number 11. Let's finally move on to the top 10. Something I'm going to mention really quick, I brought it up in the prologue, but if you guys could please like and subscribe, it would honestly mean a lot. I put a lot of work into this video, and I'm going to be putting a lot of work in the video tomorrow, and after that. I'm trying to make my videos a lot higher quality than normal, and I'm trying to step up my game, mostly because I'm home from school, and I feel like I can make a lot of great content when I don't have to stress about that. So please consider liking and subscribing, because so far I'm 2 hours into editing and putting this together, so it would just mean a lot. But coming in at number 10 is Scrap Springtrap, or Scrap Trap, or whatever you want to call him. Scrap Springtrap I feel like could have a very unique mechanic, and also, what is his name, returning PJ Haywood for the voice of Scrap Springtrap. I think he would look really cool. His model, obviously, would look really great, and I can't wait to see him in the game. This is one of the Scrap animatronics I'm not really sure if he would make it in or not. Scrap Baby, Lefty's already confirmed, and Molten Freddy I feel like are a lot more likely than Scrap Springtrap. That's why he's at number 10. But I still really want to see him, and I really hope he gets into the game. Coming in at number 9 is Withered Chica. I feel like Withered Chica is one of the less demanded Withereds, if I'm being completely honest. I hear most people talking about the other two more than Withered Chica. Withered Chica was an Ultimate Custom Night and finally got a voice. I'd love to hear that voice return in FNAF AR. I don't think she would really have a completely new mechanic, probably something with the mask. I can't really imagine anything about her being completely unique. I think the Withereds will have their own set of new mechanics when it comes to the mask. Maybe like when they spawn right in front of you and you have to put the mask on really quick, kind of like how you have to do in FNAF 2. I think it would be a very interesting idea, and I'd love to see Withered Chica in the game. I know I didn't really have a lot to say about her, but there's really not that much. So, yeah, Withered Chica comes in at number 9. Let's move on to number 8. Coming in at number 8 is Withered Foxy. Coming right off Withered Chica is Withered Foxy. I feel like Withered Foxy is one of the more popular Withereds. Not the most popular, but I definitely think he is up there. Withered Foxy hasn't been in a game since FNAF World, or in a canon appearance FNAF 2. He was excluded from Ultimate Custom Night. I guess you could count him in VR. He was in the Halloween edition and the Withered mode, but at the end of the day, I don't know how canon Curse of Dreadbear is. But he hasn't really had a proper new in-game appearance since FNAF 2, and I would really love to see him in AR. I don't know if he would have a voice. I don't know what his voice would be, kind of like Foxy's, but more glitchy and stuff. So let's move on to number 7. Coming in at number 7 is Molten Freddy, or otherwise Broken Ennard, where they kick Baby out and it's just Funtime Foxy, Funtime Freddy, and Ballora. I feel like Molten Freddy's run animation would be pretty funny, because Molten Freddy doesn't have legs, he's literally just a pool of wires with a broken Funtime Freddy mask. I'd love to hear new voice lines from him, obviously, and I'd love to see him in the game. I think Molten Freddy would probably be in, realistically, around 2021, around there. I'm hoping. Who knows, maybe it could be around the end of this year, but I'm pretty sure after we're done with these toy animatronics, which we just got done with them, I'm pretty sure they're going to move on to the Withereds, then the Nightmares, and then the Scraps. That's just my prediction, though. So, 7 is Molten Freddy. Let's move on to number 6. Coming in at number 6 is Withered Bonnie. Withered Bonnie has already kind of been teased in the game, I think, with this email. I did a video on it. I'm pretty sure they're talking about Withered Bonnie there. They could be talking about Springtrap, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's Withered Bonnie. Withered Bonnie, I think, is definitely coming this year. I'm like 90% sure confident on that. Withered Bonnie, I feel like, is the fan favorite Withered animatronic. I really hope they get his voice actor back from Ultimate Custom Night, because I think he did a really great job. Again, giving him a lot more personality. I could just see the face puns now. So number 6 is Withered Bonnie. Not that much to say. Can't think of what's the word I'm looking for? Mechanics for him. Maybe you have to like find his face or something, kind of like Mangle. I don't know, something like that. Something weird and unique. So Withered Bonnie comes in at number 6. Let's move on to number 5. Coming in number 5 is Scrap Baby, probably the main character of FNAF 6 arguably, and one that I want to see the most from FNAF 6 in this game. Scrap Baby could have very interesting voice lines. Can't really think of new mechanics for her, but I would like to see her in the game a lot. Scrap Baby is probably one of my most anticipated animatronics, hence her making it to the top 5. Again, not that much to say about her, I really hope she gets in the game, probably realistically this year, I'm hoping. Coming in at number 4 is Ennard, the original Ennard that I think is more likely to get in the game, just because Sister Location, in my opinion, is more popular, and I think Ennard is one of the most popular characters from that game. I think Ennard will probably be in this year, I'm pretty sure. He's definitely one of the most anticipated animatronics to be in the game, or at least for me personally. Ennard's really cool. I could definitely see them doing something with him. I don't know if anything new, but I don't know what, if that makes sense. I think they could do something. I think there's enough there to do something new with him. I'm just not sure what. But number 4 is Ennard. Really want to see him in the game very bad. And let's move on to number 3. Coming in at number 3 is probably my most anticipated character right now, the Puppet. The Puppet, I feel like, should be in, actually the next character, in my opinion. They just finished up the toys, and the Puppet can technically be considered a toy animatronic. He's not a Withered, and he's just kind of there in the mix of the FNAF 2 roster. But before they move on to, I don't know, maybe Nightmares or Withereds or whatever they decide to do next, I really hope they decided to go ahead and do the Puppet. I really want to see him in the game, and I'm going to be interested if they hear the Puppet's voice lines again. I didn't really care for Puppet's voice lines in Ultimate Custom Night, if I'm being completely honest. Didn't really care for it. It's probably my least favorite voice from that game. But I don't hate it, and I would love Puppet's voice actor to return if she wants to. So Puppet comes in at number 3. Let's move on to number 2. Coming in at number 2 is the rest of the Nightmares I didn't mention, being Nightmare Freddy, Nightmare Bonnie, Nightmare Chica, Nightmare Foxy, Nightmare Fredbear, Nightmare Mangle, Nightmare Baby, and Nightmare Yendo. I put all these in the same category, just because I feel like they all have the equal amount of chance getting in, just because they're all equally important, and I think that they all have a really good shot of getting in. If they put in, obviously one Nightmare, they're going to put in another one, and another one, and another one, until they're satisfied with the Nightmare roster. I feel like those are the most important ones, leaving out the Jacos and Nightmare, himself. I feel like those are the more obscure ones, and I feel like they're going to put in the most important Nightmares. Maybe excluding Nightmare Mangle, I'm not sure. I just decided to group her with the rest of them. So the Nightmares come in at number 2. I know I'm kind of breaking the rules putting them together, but it's fine. Nightmares comes in at number 2. Let's move on to number 1. coming in at number 1 is Glitch Trap. Glitch Trap was actually teased in the FNAF AR trailer, so we know he has something to do with this game, we just don't know what yet. Glitch Trap, I feel like I really want to see in the game. I'm pretty much 100% sure that he will be in this game at some point. Maybe when they decide to stop production on this game for like a final boss or something. He may also lead right into the release of FNAF VR 2 or Steel Wool's second project. I could see that tying together pretty nicely as kind of an introduction to that game if Steel Wool and Illumix decide to work together on the FNAF lore. But whatever the case, I really hope Glitch Trap gets in. I'm pretty sure he will. And that's what I have to say. So Glitch Trap number 1. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. This video took 3 hours to put together, to edit, to make. This background wallpaper, I actually made it myself. It took a long time, but I thought it would be really cool to put in this video. I have a new video coming tomorrow that I'm just as excited to make. And Illumix, if you're watching, I know the final roster's already set, but I just wanted to make some fun predictions on the next characters. Really quick, I just wanted to bring up, I didn't include the rock stars, I didn't include the glam rock animatronics, or I didn't include the mediocre melodies, just because I don't think that those are going to get in. I think any of these animatronics I put on this list are more likely before those, so that's just why I didn't put them in. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.